everyone. How's it going? This is Anthony Cosenza with the Orange and Black Insider Bengals podcast, and it's that time of week again where we come together, talk about the Bengals, and obviously there's a lot of talk about new directions with the team, and with the draft in the rearview mirror, there still is a lot to talk about, a lot to break down, and we have a special episode today. We'll get to our special guest in just a second, but I am joined, as always, by my comrade, my co-host, John Sheeran. John, how are you?
I'm excited. I'm actually giddy right now. I can hardly contain it right now, to be quite honest. Enough about me. Let's get to the guest.
Yeah. Just we'll get to you again in a second, John. The reason why we are giddy and the reason why we are excited, we have one of the greatest players in Bengals history joining us, offensive lineman Willie Anderson, joining the program once again. Willie, thanks for making the time. How are you, sir?
I'm good, man. Thanks for having me back on the show.
Yeah, we're amped to have you. And like I said before we took the air, I apologize. I hounded the hell out of you, but I appreciate the fact that you made some time to come on and talk about the Bengals, talk about what you're doing. First things first, you're coming off a pretty cool experience from the NFL draft where you represented the Bengals and announced their second-round pick. I also noticed you got a little shout-out to Auburn there. You had to do that. I saw that. So talk about that experience and what that meant to you to represent the Bengals at the NFL draft.
It definitely was a great experience, man. We had a ball. Actually, it was Marvin who called me.
Really?
Hey, man, they want to get you. Yeah. He said, hey, man, they want to get you to announce the draft. I'm like, Mark, what the hell are you doing with the Bengals? You still like a poster now? He said, yeah. So PB Jr. called me and set everything up, man. And they actually told me they'll be calling me back in about 2 or 3 weeks. And I forgot about it. I was about to plan because I do work with Nike and the opening high school Nike opening camp. I'm one of the offensive line coaches. And I had planned to be in Charlotte that weekend. Then they finally emailed me back about my flights. I said, oh, damn, I got to do the draft. so I canceled with Nike, and we did it, man. They blew us up. It was first class all the way. Had a great experience. Got a chance to meet a lot of former great players. Like, you know, I'm standing in the buffet line eating what I do very well. And I feel a strong, tall presence behind me. I'm like, damn, who in the hell is behind me that's taller and bigger than me? I look behind Ed Too Tall Jones. I'm like, damn.
Oh, wow.
He really is 6'9". I'm like, he really is too tall. Like, so these guys, man, and, you know, I think it's my first time, you know, talking to the commissioner. You know, we all us old guys, we all kind of yell at the commissioner about our meeting with the commissioner. They gave us a meeting with the commissioner, and we all yell all the old guy stuff. You know that things can be better for the older NFL players. But it was a great experience. They did a good job. NFL did a good job of taking care of us guys, and it was a good experience.
That's awesome. I mean, from what I could tell, I was obviously not there, but from what I could tell on TV, it seemed like there was a crazy amount of people there, even for night 2. Just quickly, because you announced the pick, I'm curious your thoughts about the player and the fit for the Bengals. Drew Sample, tight end. He was a little bit of a surprise to a lot of people, but as he has arrived to Cincinnati, there's been some positive reviews. Just if you have any thoughts on him since you made the announcement of him as the newest Bengal.
I mean, the Bengals, you got to give a credit to the Bengals and the Duke Tobins and those guys. You know, in the 2000s and the Marvin era, they've done a pretty good job of picking up guys. I mean, they haven't really, you know, I'm sure there's guys here and there, but for the most part, they put together some very talented teams. Now, you know, back in the old days, we kind of struggled, but but in the 2000s, they started picking right. I mean, you know, they picked guys like Carson and Chad and TJ and Eric Steinbach, Whitworth, and all these guys in the 2000s that they picked. A lot of these guys worked out, so I think you got to give the kid Sample a chance. And you know, I was surprised. I thought for sure that Carmer was going to have it. I would pick the offensive line. I would have the crowd go crazy. I mean, it was a great experience. You know, the whole just seeing the behind the scenes at the draft. We all sitting in the waiting room. I was sitting in the waiting room with my friends and Richmond Webb and his wife. we had a great time weekend, and we kept getting called back. Like, I think Richmond got called. He got pushed back more than anybody in the green room, because I kind of figured, you know what, I'm going to prepare this whole speech. I'm going to say, and the Bengals going to trade the damn pick. I said, watch. Pick your trade. I'm like, damn, I got to sit back here even more now and think more about me falling down the steps, falling on stage, all the thing of bad things happen. So, so every time somebody got pushed back, we get more even worried. So, I think the Falcons guy, a man played for the Falcons, they took their pick all the way out to the second round. So, but it was a great experience picking Drew, and I think they'll give him a chance. I think, like I said, it's been great reviews out of camp, and they picked him in the second round for a reason. I mean, we'll see how it goes.
So we got you on after the Bengals finished draft, where they took none other than an offensive tackle in the first round. What are your thoughts on Jonah Williams? What did you like about him when you watched him at Alabama? And do you think he is capable of coming in right away and playing at either left tackle or right tackle in week 1?
I think so, man. If you see my Twitter, I obviously follow a lot of SEC football. If you see my Twitter accounts, I've been raving about Jonah all season. I've spoken to Jonah through social media. I'm real cool with his former offensive line coach, Brett Key, who's now at Georgia Tech. My son plays football at Georgia Tech, so I see Keys a lot now. But I know what Coach Brett Keys teach. His style is similar to what I believe in. So I got a chance to watch Jonas do those techniques, and he did them very well. And that's why I would argue on Twitter with anyone who says, "Oh, he's gonna be a guard." I'm like, man, this man is playing left tackle in the SEC and blocking NFL guys. I'm not saying the SEC is the king of all conferences. I'm just saying, like, the conference is full of athletes, and he did a good ass job of playing left tackle and blocking guys week in and week out for 3 years of starting in Alabama. So I think he proved that he can play tackle. Which won the NFL? I think he'd be fine. And he's a tackle. The whole. How I am. I'm big about not letting people think, the left tackle, the right tackle. Man, playing tackle is big in the NFL. It's hard in any position you play it because every team have rushers everywhere. You see it now, the emergence of having strong guards now because the three techniques are you're getting the Geno Atkins and the Aaron Donalds, that three techniques, and the Fleshers, that three techniques that you better have some good guards too, and you damn sure better have two good tackles. So Jonah's going to prove the Bengals, I think, immediately.
Well, it was good value at number 11, first offensive lineman off the board. We're talking with former Bengals great Willie Anderson. He's got a lot of things going on, including recently being at the NFL draft, announcing the Bengals second-round pick, and working with his lineman academy. We'll hear more about that in just a second. Willie, before we took the air, we talked a little bit about Michael Jordan, and not the really famous Michael Jordan, the other Michael Jordan, the younger one that the Bengals selected in round 4. You've got some connections to him. He obviously grew up in the area, went to Ohio State, and has been a Bengals fan, and now is kind of living out his dream as a Bengals player. There seems to be a lot of upside with him, a lot of versatility. Any thoughts on him as he now joins the Bengals in this new look offensive line?
Yeah, like I said, I was telling you guys earlier, I trained a kid by the name of Paris Johnson, Ohio State commit. He's right now ranked number 1 lineman in the country, right there at St. X in Cincinnati. And Paris' mom, good friend of mine, I've been training Paris since like 14. And they called me before the combine about the kid Michael Jordan, about his dad wanted to catch up with me and wanted to sit down and train with us. But we never did get a chance to put it together. But it was ironic that the Bengals picked him up. I watched him at Ohio State. I think he was a dominant player at Ohio State, and it's a really good pickup for the Bengals. And so hopefully, I'll be seeing a lot of him later on this summer because I'll be up there working with parents, a lot of high school kids in the Cincinnati area. So hopefully, I get a chance to work with Michael while I'm there.
Willie, I'd be remiss if I did not ask you about the changing of the guard that occurred in Cincinnati this offseason in the form of Marvin Lewis leaving the Bengals, and the Bengals going in really a completely different direction in terms of a profile of a head coach in Zach Taylor. You obviously have some fond memories. I think we talked a little bit about this last time you were on the show. You have some fond memories of Marvin playing under him, and obviously you saw what the team was before Marvin and after. It's before Marvin and after Marvin. If you kind of want to mark times in Bengals history, you saw what it was before he got there. You saw what it was after he got there, and what the Bengals were able to do. Any thoughts, just kind of parting thoughts on Marvin and maybe what you've seen and heard about Zach Taylor being connected to the league as you are?
It's like, I guess you can say, like in the Bible, it's BC and AD, right?
Yeah, right.
Before Marvin, after Marvin. But it was funny, I did a podcast with a guy, Brandon Thorne, who does a lot of offensive line stuff on mine earlier today. Talking about Marvin, and I was saying, man, what people didn't realize is, like, all the Baltimore, I'm going to say more than Pittsburgh, because we kind of hated Pittsburgh more than Cincinnati, but we had a certain different kind of hate for Baltimore, but there was a respect for Baltimore. But those two different, how brutal those games became, like, that's partly due to Marvin. And people don't realize that. Marvin came from both places.
Yeah.
And when Marvin came to Cincinnati, Marvin thought, this is the running joke by all of us 2003 guys that was there when Marvin got there. But Marvin thought we all were terrible. He had the whole mindset, I'm taking over team 2-14. Everybody on this damn team has to be terrible. So a lot of guys, myself and Chad and TJs and Rudy's and these guys, Levi Jones, we all had to show Marvin that we weren't bad. We all just were on bad teams. You know what I mean? So Marvin to come talking about Pittsburgh and talking about Baltimore. Now he wanted to beat these teams, but he had to know him talking about these teams made us hate them even more. You know what I mean? And as time go on, I think he built that up to what those games became. Early on in those games, Pittsburgh was pretty much beating us. Then 05, we kind of got our footing, and we started having a really good matchup with Pittsburgh. Then once I retired, I ended up in Baltimore, and I seen a different kind of hate with Baltimore and Pittsburgh. That's totally different right there. I can't even explain it. But I think Marvin kind of built those. Marvin being there and his attitude toward those teams kind of built those games up to where some real blood-fest games. And I think before he got there, the Bengals, we didn't have games like that. We was in games where we were trying not to get blood in ourselves. You know what I mean? And I think him bringing the attitude, and Marvin had his fault. He know it. We all know it. You know what I mean? But giving credit to what he done as far as bringing a style towards Cincinnati, because we didn't have that, And Marvin and I had our run-ins and had our big disagreements. But I do give him credit on, he changed the image of the Bengals from what we were. But it was just too bad he couldn't get it over the hump because it became a time that people got tired of just getting to the playoffs. And at one point in time before 05 happened, everybody was wishing and praying to God that we just get to the playoffs. And we all thought from 05 on, we thought it was the beginning of, something special in Cincinnati. And it did become special, but it never did go to the hump. I think people kind of got tired of that. And it kind of wore out with Marvin. I think he'd tell you that too. So hopefully this new direction is kind of the same jolt that the Bengals gave the city and the organization when they picked Marvin. So bringing in new coaches, bringing in new staff, new direction, and hopefully that's a new jolt of them getting going and not taking it on, because I don't think they're going to have I don't think they're expecting to wait 2-3 years to rebuild it, then go have Marvin win. They got the pieces now. It's just about will that coach get the team to be a fighting, contending team that's playing smart football, that's winning games. So.
Yeah, and you obviously literally and metaphorically were a gigantic part of the turnaround that took place under Marvin Lewis. And just so you know, we've got a live chat going on as we do the podcast, and a number of Bengals fans are saying, Big Willie Hall of Fame. Shout out from Arizona to Big Willie. Yeah, we all love you, man. And there was another person who said we've been missing you since you left Cincinnati, which is definitely the truth. So a lot of love from the podcast to you, Willie Anderson. Again, this is the Orange and Black Insider Bengals podcast. We are talking with Willie Anderson, and Willie, you've been engaging, I think, over the past 2 years in the Lineman Academy, maybe longer. Where you are prepping youth football players to groom them for college level and beyond. Tell us a little bit about that. Maybe some people we need to keep our eyes on as they continue to progress through their football careers.
Yeah, so I retired in 2008. My son, he tells me in 2011 or 10 wants to play football. I'm like, oh no, like why? Like I've never played football with you before ever. Like my goal was to keep him away from football. I wanted so bad to be a basketball player. Like we trained more for basketball than we did football. But football was his love and passion, man. And I said, well, the only way you're going to catch up is if you train at it, because you're in an area where you're not going to get a lot of great coaching, and I just think these coaches are not going to have sympathy for you. I told his mom this. They're going to have sympathy for him because he's behind and started so late. I was a late bloomer, but I come up in an area where coaches wanted to be coaches. I think right now everyone is looking to move up, and that's no problem with that, but I think sometimes kids suffer because the lack of continuity and lack of coaches want to be career coaches. Let's face it, teachers get paid like crap in this country, and coaches are teachers in high school, and these guys want to continue to move up. So I understand. So training helped my son get to where he's at now. My son is his fourth year, redshirt junior at Georgia Tech receiver-wise. He got a full scholarship. So I said, man, once I get done with my son, people are begging me to work with their son. I'm like, man, I can't do that. My son he's so behind, and I gave up my whole life to get my son in college. Not my whole life, but I turned down other business opportunities and to get my son in college. Because I was never, playing football, pro football, you're away so much, and I never gave time to my son for what he wanted to do. So for 6 years we did nothing but his training. So once we got done, he graduated in 2016. I started the Willie Anderson Lineman Academy, and I thought about doing with pros because people have been offering me, a substantial amount of money to train pro linemen, get guys ready for combine. And I said, man, I just think it would be so cool. Like whenever a pro guy who played pro football, who was a really good teacher, because just because you play pro ball, don't mean you're a good teacher, but it also means you can be a very good teacher if you can relate it to the student. And I just thought, whenever a Ray Buchanan, these guys train my son, and different pro guys that I would have Terrell Owens and Chad talk to my son at receiver, and Ray Buchanan was training him at cornerback, and you get a chance to be around these pro guys. I just thought it was so cool, the information they would give to kids, because these guys were really good teachers. I said, damn, you know what? I'm gonna start off with kids, because to me, I see so many 7th and 8th grade offensive linemen getting ran out of football. Big guys getting ran out of football by, some guy who's an asshole. I'm not gonna say that, but I said it. But who take the fun out of football for kids because he thinks a 7th and 8th grade guy should be tough and just go be big. And no, man, teach me what I'm supposed to be doing. I've also seen 7th and 8th grade parents get so discouraged because they don't know what their sons even are doing. You know what I mean? But the neighbor's kid, Jonathan, he's scoring 3 touchdowns, and his dad is the coach of the team. And Jonathan's family gets a chance to feel good at the game and after the game, where the linemen don't feel good because they're one, not getting taught the proper stuff. 2, it's not fun. And 3, you're getting yelled at all the damn time. You don't want to do that. And I just think at that level, you go into high school. I think high school coaches do their best with what they can do. They do the best with the information they have, best with the resources they have. And I just think a guy like myself pouring back into high school kids, it means a lot more to me than, fighting over pro guys about what you should be doing. Because pro offensive line coaches, They don't want guys like me in the NFL because I say all the time, pro football is the only job you have that you put on your resume. Your resume is held against you because you played. So people say, well, you don't want to put the hours in because you played in the NFL. You don't know what it is to coach. Well, I necessarily don't want to coach. I want to skill develop. Give me 2 days out of the week to work with guys on skill. I don't want to sit in the classroom and go over plays and get so afraid of this blitz and spend an hour on one day and play. I don't want to do that. That's coaching. But skill development is what we do at the academy. We cross-train the guys, and it's just teaching big guys to understand that, hey, you're an athlete, you matter, your technique. In order to be great, it's a technique-driven position, and I'm having fun doing it. I do train, occasionally train a lot of pro guys. My main focus is to get a high school kid who's a 5 foot. I have several of these kind of kids who are 5'11" that are juniors and seniors in high school that would never go play college football, but their parents want them to have fun playing high school football and want them to know what they're doing. I get pleasure out of that, and I also get pleasure out of seeing a guy like Terrence Johnson, right there at St. X in Cincinnati, who stayed with me. He was 14 years old, and I said, this kid's the worst kid I've ever seen play football. Like I kicked him out of my buddy Floyd Walker, who's the pastor in Cincinnati. He brought PJ down to me. I said, man, he can't be in my drills because the kid he's holding me up. Like I work with him on my own at the house, and I basically started training PJ in my kitchen. And now to see PJ is ranked #1 lineman in the country for the 2020 class. Right there saying that he's the most coveted offensive lineman in the country. And I have other guys. I have a guy, Chris Morris, out of Memphis. These kids travel to Atlanta to come work with me, and you would be amazed at these kids' work ethic. I got a kid here in Atlanta called Paul Teo, right here at Milton High School in Georgia. I met Paul in the 7th grade. He's one of the biggest damn kids I've ever seen in my life. Paul is committed to Clemson right now. So to see these kids from 13, 14 years old, now they're about to be seniors, and they're ranked nationally in the country when people just say, oh, they're just some big, clumsy kids. Now these kids are big, athletic, they look good, and I get a joy. I don't know why. I get a certain joy out of that than me saying, training, flying to Oklahoma City and training Lane Johnson for the Eagles, that's great. Lane is a great player. And for them to believe in me, to train all these pros believe in me, that's a great feeling. But it's even better feeling for me to develop someone's son, to see them get to college, or to see them to be successful players in high school. So that's kind of what we do at the Willie Anderson Lineman Academy. I'll talk all day about it because it's my passion.
That's awesome. I've seen some stuff that you've put up on your Twitter account, and for those who, for some reason, are not following Willie Anderson on Twitter, at BigWillie7179, I've seen some stuff that you put up and working with kids, which I think is awesome. I'm a former coach myself, and I understand the joy of working with high school level kids and stuff. It's a really cool feeling. And, between what you do and some of the stuff that your old offensive line coach, Paul Alexander, is doing with younger football players, I think both of what you guys are doing is very cool. If there's a way either to find out more information or to get involved for volunteerism or anything with your organization, where can people go to find out more?
Go to my website, WillieAndersonLinemanAcademy.net. Both my social medias, Instagram and Twitter, both the same. Big Willie 7179. Also, we're selling some videos. I have my own set of videos I sell, but my past pro videos, they're on my website called training.olinblocks.com. And then Paul Alexander and I, we did some videos, some past pro videos and seminar as well, called Paul and Willie. They're on CoachTube. So
very cool.
Both out. Yeah. So
awesome.
We're trying to get the offensive lineman training and skill development as high as the quarterback. Right now, everybody's a quarterback trainer right now. You know what I mean? And quarterback trainers are very popular, but they've also helped improve the game. So many people complain about 7-on-7, but I mean, look at the year Andy Dalton came to the league, and I think it was about 7 quarterbacks from Texas that were in the draft. came into the NFL as starters, and they all credited playing 7-on-7 and having quarterback trainers as the reason why they were able to come in and play so early. I think offensive line training has to get popular, and parents have to see, hey man, let me take my kids to a specialist and get them trained and developed. And I tell high school coaches, don't offensive line coaches are so we do it, they're territorial. And I tell coaches, don't think we're teaching your kid anything else. When a kid comes to us, I say, man, hey, first thing I want to know is what are you being taught at school, because we have to perfect that first. So if you go to a math tutor and you're going for an algebra test, and she teaches you geometry, like, what good is that?
Right.
So we're tutors that's going to refresh you up on what you doing in school or what you're doing in college. We have college guys, a gang of college kids coming in now because they're on break, and we give you a little bit extra to put in your toolbox. But at the same time, we're going to help you to perfect the techniques in which you're being taught at your school. So it's not different. It's not the pro way or the high school way. It's football.
Well, I can't think of many other people who are who I'd want my kid to learn under over yourself. I mean, that's you're one of the best offensive linemen to ever do it. So obviously what you're teaching is very valuable, and it's very cool that you're giving back to future generations in this way in terms of teaching knowledge, technique, all that good stuff. Willie, it's been an absolute pleasure. I appreciate the time. We'd love to have you back on again sometime in the near future, whether it's something that you're doing with the academy or just to talk more Bengals or both. We'd love to have you back on, man.
Let's do it. I'll be up in Cincinnati, I think, next month for some stuff up there. So maybe we talk then and see a bunch of guys. I definitely want to get by training camp. So, it's who they all day.
I'd love it. I'd love it. Thanks, Willie. Appreciate it. We'll talk to you soon.
Okay, thank you.
All right, that was Willie Anderson, former Bengals offensive lineman, one of the best to ever do it. And he's got, you heard the websites, you heard the information that he's got. I actually didn't know he's putting out training videos, John. That's pretty cool.
Dude, do you have Instagram?
Well, I knew he was doing his little clips. I didn't know he was selling actual tape.
Right.
Stuff like that. That's pretty cool and valuable stuff in itself. So, my kid's only 2, but if you're listening and you have a kid that's maybe thinking about football and especially offensive lineman, at least maybe start there. And if you're a Bengals guy, I'm sure Willie would love to work with you and your kid. I mean, I don't know. To me, that's pretty cool. I don't follow him on Instagram, admittedly. I follow him on Twitter. Does he put a lot of stuff up on Instagram?
I just love going through my friends' stories. It's just the most basic crap imaginable. All of a sudden you get to a live video of Willie Anderson. It's 8 minutes of just him just going through rigorous training with pass protection drills, and you can watch it for a couple minutes and just learn something new every time if you're into that stuff. So he's one of a kind, man, because like you said, it's not the fact that he was a great offensive lineman, but not all the great players can become great teachers and great coaches.
Right.
But he's just someone who can do it at both, and that's a rarity, especially nowadays.
And I think part of it, you heard it at the end of that interview when we were asking him about it. I think part of it, and probably a big part of it, is the passion that he has for it. Not only the passion of football and playing football as long as he did at such a high level that he did, but the passion of kind of teaching future football players. And I think it sounds like he said one kid's going to Clemson, another kid, that Paris Johnson kid's going to Ohio State. So those are a couple of names to look out for. So our thanks to Willie Anderson. He's been on the program before. It's been a little while. I think it was just before the start of last season we had him on. And so, with the Bengals investing so much in offensive linemen this offseason, we figured it would be a good time to get him back on. And we appreciate his time. Hopefully we'll get him back on again soon. And I hope you all enjoyed that interview, at least even close to as much as John and I did. I don't want to speak for you, John, but I enjoyed it. It's always good. So, good dude. And actually got some funny story. I thought that the draft story was pretty funny. Anyway, this is the Orange and Black Insider Bengals podcast. He's John Sheeran. I'm Anthony Cosenza. We just heard from Willie Anderson. And in case you didn't join us live and you want to get that interview or other snippets of this episode, other episodes, all that good stuff, you can find our content on iTunes, on Stitcher, on Spotify, on Google Play, You can also find our content on the Megaphone platform, on YouTube, and all of our content is on cincyjungle.com, so you can check that out. And again, big thanks to Willie Anderson for joining us. It's been a little while since we've had a Bengals player on, and not many of them have the resume as Big Willie. So it's good to have him on the program.